Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum. We know that happiness and unhappiness are created whenever our senses come in contact with the objects. If it is favorable, it creates happiness. If it is not favorable, it creates unhappiness. Objects are not in our hand to make them favorable or unfavorable, because the objects has also their own nature. When we try to make the objects favorable, that is our extrovert life, whichever name we want to give. Actually, science, etc., falls into that category. Here is a water, bottle of water. Normal temperature doesn't give me happiness. So I put it in the fridge, becomes cool. When I take, it gives me happiness. That's how in that logic, everything that we call scientific is making the object favorable to us. Don't take only simple objects of eating and drinking, but every object. And when you subjectively change yourself to make the things either favorable to you, or a state of mind when it is the object loses the capacity to be favorable or non-favorable. So these 2-3 things are there which actually we are doing unknowingly. But if we know how it works, up to a certain extent it may help us to be free from. Eventually, what is the goal? Minimum suffering, maximum happiness. Whatever we do, this logic works. Not only the goal of life, but unknowingly everybody follows that to eventually reach the goal of life. What is that? Atyantika dukkha nivritti paramananda praptischa. And that is reflected in our day-to-day life. Do we do anything which gives me unhappiness? Knowingly not. We don't put our effort to be unhappy. Does anybody put? Nobody. So we all try to do something which makes us happy. But we know the result is not always the same. We keep on doing the same. Let us give this example to be, then you can interpret everything of life from that point of view. A bottle of water, which is of room temperature, which doesn't give me happiness, so I put in the fridge. When I drink, I feel I'm happy. Maybe I get cold because of that. Then I refrain from doing that. So this always keeps on happening in our life. So idea is this, that Sri Krishna beautifully says, we are in this world. The nature of the world is one kind. It has a capacity to create happiness and misery in our mind. We all want to be happy, don't want any misery. Or rather, we are ready to take little misery because it will give us more happiness. We are ready to take the misery. How? We don't want to be pricked by a needle, but we are happily pricking the needle because it is vaccination. It is painful, but we have hope that in a long run it will be helpful to me. Eventually, goal is the same. Goal is to be happy. So this basic tendency also shows that unknowingly we want to fulfill that goal of life, that I want to be, but because it is related to the senses and the objects, we keep on working with that only. But truly, unless we are free from that, if you keep on looking for happiness created by this contact of senses and the sense objects, and if it doesn't happen, then we feel unhappy. That's what people generally keep on doing to be happy. But a time comes in our life when we have no physical or mental strength, or the senses loses the vigor. Think that your eyesight is very bad. There are people, the doctors will say, the more you look at the screen, you will slowly lose the eyesight. Not that you do not want to see the screen, but you do not do. By not doing that also you get misery, get unhappiness. So when we say the contact of senses is not the contact in positive sense, that I came in contact with the senses. You were not to come in contact with the senses, but desire is to come in contact with the sense objects. That itself creates unhappiness. So this is a very complicated situation, but we all behave according to our tendency. How many people know the scientific reason behind how the electrical or electronic gadgets are working? We don't know. We all are using Wi-Fi and internet. How many of us know what really it is? I was asking someone, what is that Wi-Fi which we all are using? Scientifically, what it is? Some connection somewhere, but there is no wire connected. And with that help, even I am sending picture from here to anywhere in the world. So far as you are connected with it, you can get it. So what I am telling is this, that we can use the things without knowing the science behind it. In the same way, the science of religion and spirituality which is stored, which is discussed in the scripture, we don't even know it. But we behave accordingly. That's how we are born. So the people who are philosophers or psychologists, you see, Krishna is talking practically about psychology. That how our mind works, how our mind becomes happy and unhappy. So, there we discussed that the five senses of knowledge comes in contact with the sense objects, and we react to that with the five senses of action. In this process, we get happiness and unhappiness. We don't have control over the objects. Maximum what you can do is you can have control over your senses. If your willpower is good, doctor says that sweet is harmful to you, maximum people suffer, lament, oh, because of diabetes I'm not able to take sweet, because I'm not able to take sweets. Why lamentation? But what if your mind is with willpower? So this analytical mind with the willpower, Sri Krishna will tell in the next sloka, is the mind which has wisdom and which has steadiness. So the lastly what sloka we read, that the indriyas, the senses, what type of indriya? Raga, dvesha, viyuktehi. That senses without attachment and aversion. Who suffers most in this world? People with strong liking and strong dislikes. Liking, disliking, all of us have. But there are people with strong liking and strong dislikes. Now, you may have liking and strong disliking for something. That doesn't mean those objects will not come on your way. So when the objects with a strong dislike comes on your way, that much unhappiness will be created in your mind. This is simple, no big philosophy here. So Sri Krishna says, Ragadvesha viyuktaihi indriyaihi atmavashyehi indriyaihi. These indriyas, the senses, two qualification. Atmavashyehi, self-controlled, and ragadvesha viyuktaihi, and free from attachment and aversion. Attachment and aversion in general, you can translate it, not very strong likes and dislikes. Like moves. If it is there also okay, if it is not there also okay. If this type of mind you have, senses you have, then that Videyatma, that person, he gets a kind of happiness, serenity. Happiness is not happiness which is created with the sense objects, because it is well controlled. When you are happy, in India, in the news, this is very common line they use is, the situation is tense but under control. That itself gives happiness to you, correct? We forget the situation is tense still, but this itself gives us happiness, it is under control. If the senses are under control, senses are extrovert, all our senses, nobody is free from that. Uncontrolled senses are a problem. Extrovert we are born with. All of us are born extroverts. When you close your eyes and try to meditate, you struggle. Why you struggle? Because mind is not trained to meditate. But do you need any training for your mind to be extrovert? No. Just let loose and it will do everything. So this is important. Whole Bhagavad Gita, you can make 10-15 sentences, short sentences, which is the essence of that. One of these is this. Self-controlled with minimum attachment and aversion, if you have, then a happiness is created within you. That happiness, again, sometimes you will find I am repeating the same words, but it is necessary. That happiness which is created when your mind is under your control, the senses are under your control, not full control, whatever control. At least you know steering is there in your hand. With control and with reduced or controlled attachment and aversion, that mind has a capacity to give you happiness. That happiness is called prasadam, not the prasad which you get after puja. Meaning is that why you got prasad out of puja? Because you spent 2, 3, 4 hours in this state when your senses are under control, you are not extrovert, you are trying to be introvert, and everything helps you because of the auspiciousness of the day, because of the atmosphere, because of people are singing together, because nicely decorated and puja is going on. So you get a kind of happiness. That is called prasadam. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanihi asya upajayate. If end of the prayerful session, if you are happy, then your mind becomes easily concentrated. If you are happy, in all spiritual places, a temple, etc., when we go, I have told this earlier, what we are externally doing is, or we are putting effort to do that. What is that? Think that you will go and sit in the temple. Simple decoration, pleasing to the eyes. Eyes are taken care. Aircon is there, not very hot, so skin is taken care. Incense stick is burning. If not good incense stick no good. If incense stick is good, your nose is taken care. You sing bhajans, hopefully we are singing in tune, so your tongue is taken care. What you hear is not the displeasing to your ears, so your ears are taken care. When all the 5 senses are free from misery, then mind becomes concentrated. Though with all our efforts also mind will go out. That is the mind. But what we are doing in the temple consciously, as soon as you enter the temple, we take care of your 5 senses of knowledge: eyes, ears, nose, skin, so that those 5 senses, which in general are the source of unhappiness, will not create unhappiness because of the surrounding what we provide. So that happiness comes. As soon as you are happy, doing japa is very easy because mind is not extrovert at that time. So says Krishna, prasade, that happiness which is created, what it makes? Hanihi asya upajayate. All the sorrows are forgotten for a while. Same thing happens when you come in contact with a great soul. Same thing happens when a place is so positive. For some reason, we do not know why it is, but it is. When you go for places of pilgrimage and all that, some temples, wow, you feel so happy. So all these things are helping you, and your mind becomes concentrated. You are free from that kind of negativity. When your mind is happy, your intellect, that also becomes steady. Everybody has different experiences in the places of pilgrimage. When people come, other day somebody came, wow, this is such a nice place. When we come, not much noise of the traffic. It is very, very nice. Atmosphere is very good. Immediately you become happy. And then the happiness when you do japa, this Swami Brahmanji says in one place, whenever you find a place conducive, whenever you find that your five senses are taken care, mind becomes immediately happy. Close your eyes and do japa for a while. He says, why? Which you need to put so much effort in creating a puja room in your house and incense and prasad and this, so many things you do. But naturally, you go some places looking at the ocean, looking at the mountain, looking at the clouds. You become happy. Mind becomes so. As soon as that happiness is created, do japa. Because at that time it is favorable for you to do japa. Very easy, you don't need to struggle. My opinion, or our opinion sometimes I can say. Varanasi is that place. Varanasi, I do not know whether it is true to everybody, but it is always said for Varanasi that there is a current, as if, especially in the night, when people sleep, when the whole world sleeps, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. That is the time in Varanasi. So Varanasi, I have visited many times. Sadhus and devotees wake up at 2 o'clock in the night. Many householders, many monks. They wake up at 2 o'clock, they sleep at 9 o'clock. Because that night, early morning, from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, that is the time in Varanasi to do japa. Anyway, these are all, again you can say it's a belief system, let it be so, but it is experienced by many. So your mind and buddhi becomes steady. Now, if your mind is not steady, your mind is going here and there between two posts. And we give this example. Think that you are that football where 11 people are trying to send you to this goal, other 11 are trying to send you to this goal. You are that football. Is there any way for you to be steady anytime? Is the football steady during that 1.5 hours? No. So the whole life is this. We are tormented between these two posts, two goal posts. And these extrovert senses are pushing us everywhere. So, if you are not steady, unsteady mind, nasti buddhi ayuktasya, unsteady mind cannot have that wisdom, cannot have that purity or concentration. Nacha ayuktasya bhavana. Bhavana is not the normal sense of the term we use. The meditativeness is called bhavana. Bhavanam, thinking. Actually, bhava, when you say bhavana, is a feminine word which bhava with anat pratyay, with a suffix called anat. So where your bhava, where your emotions are taken care, emotions are concentrated. That is meditation. When you are fully emotionally attached. How easy is for you to meditate when you understand the meaning of a song, a devotional song, which brings tears to your eyes. You don't even try to meditate. The mind automatically becomes concentrated in that. So here it is said that if your mind is not steady, even if anything positive comes, you won't be able to appreciate, or your mind will not be affected positively. Nacha ayuktasya bhavana. This unsteady mind cannot even meditate. Na abhavayata shanti. And if mind cannot concentrate, if mind cannot meditate, if mind doesn't experience this happiness of detachment between senses and the sense objects, how it will have a peace? Ashantasya kuda sukham. And if you are not at peace, you are not happy. Happiness depends on the peace of mind. How happiness? Generally we say happiness is when favorable things happen to us, we are happy. When spiritual sense positive thing happen to you, you become concentrated, you become peaceful, you become happy together. So in general, again, people say, how to know we are spiritually progressing or not? You will be more peaceful. The happenings around you will not disturb you. You know it is coming to you. You know it want to disturb me, but you are detached. So it doesn't disturb you. If peace is there, if happiness is there, if steadiness is there in your spiritual practice, that shows you are progressing. You are progressing towards that goal. These are all spiritual aspect, not religious aspect. Not that all religious people are happy, no. Not all religious people are peaceful, no. Only spiritual people can be happy and peaceful. Today also I was talking to someone. Everybody wants to talk about religion. But it is spirituality which is goal of religion. It is good to build a temple. It is good to visit the temple. But just by constructing temple and visiting temple, this happiness is not created in your heart. To a certain extent, fine, beautiful, fine. Then what? Where goes your extrovertness? That's why Sri Krishna doesn't want to bother. There is no word called temple in spiritual practice, in whole Bhagavad Gita. There is no temple. Because it is too external things to talk about. When you talk about spirituality, we say temple is the first thing comes in our mind. Sri Krishna doesn't even bother to use the word temple here. In English there is a proverb. Closest to the church, far from the God. So person who is inside, working inside temple, doesn't mean he or she is spiritual. No. How you take the attitude. If your attitude is not correct, even in the temple you cannot be spiritual. When I came in 2001 here, some temple, I don't know which temple, night temple is closed. So the poor priest, he is a human being. So he felt like going and eating something good. Good means what he considers good. So he went and took some non-veg food in one restaurant. Somebody saw him and complained to the authority. So authority told him, we will cancel your work permit, you go back to India. So news came to me. Oh, that priest went and took chicken. I said, so? What it has to do with he is doing his job. He never claimed that he is a saint. He doesn't claim that is the sign of my spirituality now. You decide what you want to do, you do. That's a different thing. Sri Krishna never even wants to discuss that subject in your scripture. Other also I was talking, and the big question came. I said, you take what you want to do. Food is not important. If it would have been important, at least one line Krishna would have told somewhere. If temple is so important, one line Krishna would have told in the Bhagavad Gita. These are, Swami Vivekananda says, is the secondary details of religion. You like it, you feel good by doing that, you do it. Today someone told, no, I don't take ice cream because 40 days before, Easter, the Christians will, just like Hindus do, they renounce something. Okay, these 40 days I will not take anything milk product, like that. So I said, good to do that, if you do it for the sake of God. Because by not taking vegan things, you don't become spiritual. It may help you if your aim is correct. I am doing it for the sake of my spiritual life, that I will not take it. It's okay. That's how the question comes. That's why it is important to use the original words, and people forget about it. Oh, today is Ekadashi, I am fasting. Nothing is wrong in this sentence, correct? I said, no, it's wrong. Fasting is what? Not eating? If not eating can make you spiritual, there are millions who cannot eat food properly twice a day. All should be spiritual. No. If you do fasting for a purpose of spirituality, then it could be helpful. Sri Krishna never says a word about fasting in the whole Bhagavad Gita. Nowhere. Even the food is discussed. He says, those who take too much food and those who do not take food cannot become yogi. Those who sleep too much and those who never sleep or do not want to sleep, no, they cannot become yogi. That is told. Yukta ahara viharasya yukta chestasya karmasu. Ahara and vihara should be moderate. You must take food so that the body has energy. You don't take too much food that you are so much overfed that you can't do anything, activity, you become tamasic. So both we have to avoid. These extremes about food, things we should avoid. Taking too much and not taking at all. That's what Krishna says. I had a kind of sweet debate with one senior Swamiji who was culturally, from his family itself, they were Vaishnava. So he was emphasizing on fasting and so much. So I said, Swamiji, you can tell me the significance of fasting in Vaishnava tradition. Because scripture doesn't say about it. No scripture says. Now you see, this fasting, this temple, are so much important part of our religious life, which Krishna doesn't even discuss about it. So we need to give importance to it, but due importance, don't give more importance. Have you heard anybody dying in the temple? No, you die in your house, you die in your bed, you die in hospital. You visit temple, but make your mind in such a way that you close your eyes, you are in the temple. That's what Krishna says here. No, in temple I can meditate, at home there is no atmosphere. But you won't be able to come to temple at certain age and in certain condition. So your life is not spiritual. No. So Swami Vivekananda puts this, the temple, the rituals, the books, he says, these are the secondary details of religion. What is the primary detail? Famous, these things we should memorize. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest this divinity by controlling nature, external and internal. Do it either by work or worship or psychic control or philosophy. That is karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, raja yoga. Do it by work or worship or psychic control or philosophy, by one or two or all of them, do it and be free. That's the whole of religion. The books, the rituals, the temples, etc. are the secondary details. So give importance which is due. There is no reference of statue in any of our scriptures. There is no reference of temple in any of our scriptures. So you do it, nothing wrong about it. But that doesn't necessarily make you spiritual. So to be spiritual is important here. That's what Sri Krishna says. So if your mind is steady, if your senses are somewhat under control, this somewhat under control is an interesting word to say. Why? At least you know that your mind is going in a wrong way if you try to control it. If you don't try to control it, it will go everywhere. And you are not even aware that my mind went in the wrong way. So you try to control it itself is enough. There is a famous sloka, it will come in Bhagavad Gita. Manushyanam, there are many places people will quote in lectures. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye. One in thousands even try to lead a life. Yatatam api siddhanam, those who try, millions of people, those who try, among them one or two people realize me. Why it is said so? At least you try. Shankaracharya beautifully comments on that. Who is the Siddha Purusha? Oh, he is a Siddha Purusha. We say, oh, he must have some occult power. No. Shankaracharya says, Siddha eva hite ye mokshaya yatante. Once you sincerely strive for liberation, you are a Siddha Purusha. Because ordinary person do not do it. I remember an incident. It was Sri Ramakrishna's birthday or something in Belur Math. So my duty was between Brahmanji's temple and Mother's temple, that side. And we have to tell the crowd not to go this side, sit in the pandal where lectures are going on, all that. One old lady came, very old, complete white sari, that means she is widow in her, and I found she is in her late 70s or something. Anyway, for some reason, me and other Swami, we were standing, she came and told, what will happen to us? We are samsaris. Baba, amader ki hobe? Amra to samsari log. Then the Swami with me very sweetly told to the lady, Amma, if you are unlucky worldly person, you won't be standing on Belur Math ground. You will be standing somewhere else. We do not even know that God is already blessing you. What more He wants, what more He can do for you? Everything is favorable. I was telling other day to someone, everything is favorable. Not very rich, but no financial crisis in your family. Not a huge mansion, but you have nice 2-3 room flat. Your health is more or less good. You are in contact with a good organization, initiated. What more God can do to you? Only one thing is left, that you have to bless yourself by utilizing this opportunity. Sri Ramakrishna says in Bengali, Guru Krishna Vaishnav tiner daya holo, eker daya bine jiv chare khare galo. This is a very typical Bengali proverb. Guru has kripa on you. Krishna, God has blessed you. Vaishnava, other devotees also have blessed you. You are in company of good people. You are initiated, God has blessed you. And Guru gave you mantra, you are blessed with that. All the 3 blessings are there with you, but without the blessings of that one person, your life becomes useless. Who is that one person? Is yourself. If you don't bless yourself, even these 3 blessings cannot work for you. Again I am telling you, some people have said, hey, on 12th, Ramakrishna's birthday is, please come. Okay, if God wishes, I will come. So I jokingly say, so you don't wish, isn't it? If you do not wish, even God wishes, you cannot come. So don't say always, oh God wishing I will do. No, God always wish good for you. That's why you are here. Now you have to bless, no, I can't come because of this. Oh, you decide. You decide. Because those things are more important to you. You are not blessing yourself. So how to bless oneself is putting the more and more self-effort. When you get a blessings, you accept it. At least spread your hand. That much effort you do. We want to give you prasad. No. You shrink. No, you spread your hand. We can give prasad to you. So the spreading hand or folding hand is example of your own effort. If you do not put effort in spiritual life, sorry, Guru, Krishna, Vaishnava, nobody can help you. So here, that you cannot be happy if you don't have peace of mind. You cannot have peace of mind if your mind is not little or more under your control. And how your mind can be under your control if you do not have little control over your senses? So Sri Krishna says, Tasmat Indriyani Adav. Adav is in the beginning, at first. Niyamya Bharatarsava. This is a very good study of Bhagavad Gita. Sri Krishna is addressing Arjuna by different names. In shlokas you will find. And that address is very apt, always. He says, Tasmat Indriyani Adav Niyamya Bharatarshava, Bharata Rishava. Oh, best among the Bharata clan, control your senses. That means if you control your senses, then only you are supposed to be the best of the Bharata clan, not otherwise. Sometimes you say, oh, Kunti Nandana, okay, fine. You are the son of Kunti. But your true identity is different. A self-controlled person can have identity. In spiritual, we are talking. So, Indriyanam hi charatam yan manonu vidhiyate tadasya harati prajnam vayur navam iva ambhasi. Sometimes I feel we have to talk about Bhagavad Gita in a relatively peaceful place, correct? How Krishna tell him in a war ground when everybody is ready with missiles? What is true? What we are doing is correct or what Krishna did was correct? Ma manusmara yudhyacha. Remember me and fight. If you do not have brain, you will interpret it, oh, see, Krishna tells you to fight with others. No. This life is nothing but a war between you and your own senses and your mind. Who is your worst enemy, if not your own mind? Who is your best friend, if not your own mind? Who is most harmful to you? Your own senses which are not in control. Who is your best friends? Those senses which are under your control. So this war is a personal war of all of us. So Sri Krishna says, Ma manusmara, remember me, remember what I am telling you. And then keep this fighting till you reach the goal. What is the goal? The goal is liberation, moksha, mukti. But that will not come just by telling. So these virtues to be practiced. Sometimes we ask to very senior Swamijis, Swamiji, there are so many virtues to practice. Which one to practice, which one not to practice? So many are there. Whole Bhagavad Gita is full of do this. How much to do? Tired. So the Swamiji very nicely told, take up one virtue. Perfectly try to achieve it. All will follow. Don't worry. You don't need to individually try. These are all jokes, but very logical. You know, there is an insect called centipede who has got, they say 100, but we have to count how many are there. It is standing still. When it starts walking, which leg he raise first? This is very difficult. In the same way, I've got 32 teeth. Which teeth I'm using first while chewing the food? Hey, don't ask these questions. Start chewing, that is important. Start walking, that is important. So Sri Krishna says, start controlling the senses, start controlling the mind. Whichever way, by jnana, bhakti, sing bhajans, do meditation, do philosophical discussion, something you do service to the people, something you do. But without these two, mind and the senses, without not full control, he is not expecting that you to do. Little. You are driving car. Steering is very important because it decides the direction. How you hold the steering? Like this. No, just put two hands is enough. This much control over the senses. You should be aware that my steering is not going here and there, that's all. You don't need to forcefully control the steering with all your might and all your strength. No, just hold. When necessary, you do like this, correct? But if you don't have control over your steering, definitely meet with an accident. Definitely. So, even the concept of controlling the senses and the mind itself will help. Because mind has become, you are completely disidentified with that. That's why the question of control comes. So even the concept of control, even you try to control itself is enough, in a way. Because it becomes your object. If I'm not doing, I'm with my mind. Me and my mind are the same one. And then you know, in different religions, different expressions are there. Hey, how you could do this? Oh, Satan took control over me. Which Satan came? The uncontrolled mind is called Satan in Christianity. The uncontrolled mind is the Satan. In Hinduism, there is no concept of Satan. Have you ever heard about Satan? No. Heaven and hell, the concept which Hinduism has, is a place for punishment and a place for reward. When a Christian says heaven and hell, that hell, Hinduism doesn't have concept, which is called permanent hell. Because they don't have the reincarnation. I was talking to one Catholic lady the other day. I said, how it is? Adam and Eve from Eden stolen one apple and we all became sinners. Okay, accept it. And that's not a big sin. Yes, it's the wrong thing to do, but to steal an apple cannot be my life and death. And then because of all of us have the same. I said, no. Ignorance, basic ignorance. And this is our way of looking at no contradiction with anybody. I said, the child who is just born, what sin it has committed? Except sin of being born in your family, who is a family of sinners. We are all born with ignorance. And to remove the ignorance is the holy process of baptism. If that doesn't help to remove your ignorance, it doesn't mean anything. So, the mind which follows the wandering senses, uncontrolled mind, the uncontrolled mind and uncontrolled senses takes away the wisdom of a person, just like a strong wind takes away the boat in the deep sea. No control over this boat. So the boat will go according to the wish of the wind. So it is necessary here that senses and mind, spiritual life is nothing but this game of controlling less or more your mind and your senses. The more control you have, and with a purpose, you have control over the steering and accelerator, and you know where to go, you definitely go. You started from your home, you correctly reach mission. Because you had accelerator under your feet and the steering was in your hand. You slip off in between, steering goes out of your hand. You don't land in Ramakrishna Mission, you land somewhere else. This is the difference between control of the senses and control of the mind. We'll take up next time. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.